Hey, I'm Rob from JestaThaRogue.com. This is a tier list of the top 50 games on Board Game Geek at the time of recording. Let's get started. Number 50 is Azul or Azul or whatever you want to pronounce it. This is that really nice pattern building game, those really good quality tiles that you're building out, and if you get too many you get punished. I think some of the newer versions of this game are better, so I don't really like this one as much anymore, so I'm going to put it in Take It or Leave It, which is a game that I will play, but it's not one that I'll suggest. Next up is the first of the games I haven't played, which is Le Havre. It's a classic game, it's very highly rated, obviously people love it, it just doesn't interest me. I do have the app that I might get to play one day, I've had it for years though and I haven't got around to it yet. So for Le Havre I'm going to put sorry, not interested. Next up is another game I haven't played, Too Many Bones. It's a big adventure game with lots of dice. It looks really nice. It is very, very expensive. Again, I heard nothing but good things about it. But whenever I watch a review of this game, it always seems to be nothing that interests me. It just seems to be a very flat, boring looking game. But I do want to play it. I want to know what the hype is all about. So I'm going to put that in, would like to play. Next up is a card game I'm all in on. It's Marvel Champions. I've got all the expansions. I love this game. I love card systems where you have to spend cards out of your hand to pay for other cards to put into play. It's one of my favourite mechanisms. I really love this game and I own it. And of course, Get on the Shelf. Get on the Shelf is a tier that are games that I want to own. I need to own. Next up is another Euro game. This one is a Terra Mystica Want to Be. It tried to be like Terra Mystica. It sold itself as Terra Mystica mixed with Agricola. It's Clans of Caledonia. And while it's very good, while I'm playing it, I'm just thinking, why don't I just play Terra Mystica? I like it much more. So for Clans of Caledonia, unfortunately, you can get in the bin. Next up is Star Wars Imperial Assault, a miniatures dungeon crawling game based in the Star Wars world. As somebody who's not a fan of Star Wars at all, that puts me off it a little bit, but I do like the system. I do like rolling the dice and having to roll for also range as well as if you hit or not. So because it is a Star Wars game, it gets marked down a bit. So I'm going to put it as thanks, but no thanks. It's a good game. Just give me a different theme. Next up is Anachrony, a game I haven't played, and I think you can get resources from the future, but then when you catch up to that point in future, you have to pay those resources back, or there's a penalty, or something goes wrong with wibbly wobbly timey-wimey things. Not entirely sure. Again, I've heard nothing but good things from people whose opinions I trust. So in that case, I would like to play. Next up is Mechs vs Minions, incredibly well produced, very fun game where you're programming these robots and they go wrong and they go all over the place. Loads of minis in the game, it just looks beautiful. Unfortunately, it's a campaign game which is really, really hard to get played. So while I do own it, it is on my shelf. I'm going to mark it down a bit. I just want to get it to the table. I want to actually finish a campaign. Next up is another Euro, Underwater Cities, where you're building an underwater city base. You're connecting all the different towers and you've got to feed kelp, I think it is, to your people to keep them going. I can't remember. It didn't really sit with me. There's, again, when you're looking at Euros, they need to be something special to stand out from the rest of them around them, especially this sort of mid to high weight Euro. There's so much competition. So Underwater Cities, get in the bin. Seems a bit unfair. I'm going to say thanks, but no thanks. Next up, one of my favourite games of all time, Power Grid. I've got the deluxe edition. I really enjoy it, where you're auctioning for these power stations and you're building around the map. You're trying to connect them all up and you're trying to earn money so you can buy more, and you're buying the power to feed them all. And the way the turn order works means some people get to buy resources first, other people get to buy power plants first and build first. So depending how far ahead you are, it means it's going to cost you more to do certain stuff. I really like that balancing thing because it's thematic, if you think about it. I love this game, so that has got to be Get on the Shelf. But I'm going to put it below Marvel Champions. I do like Marvel Champions more. Get on the Shelf is the only tier that I will be putting in order. Next up is another Euro. It's Tzolk'in the Mayan Calendar, where you've got those wheels and you're putting workers on those wheels, and as they tick round, the options that you get for their action gets better and better, but you need to pull them away in order to take that action, and you might run out of workers, so you have to pull them back to take them to get resources to do things. There's loads to do. The expansion where you get an asynchronous player power makes it even better. I did have a bad experience the last time I played this, so I'm trying to shut that out of my mind. One of the players was boring, taking ages to take their turn because they looked on the internet for a strategy and they had so many resources. Their turn was taking more than the other three players put together. It really put me off. But I do really like this game. It's not one I'm going to own though, and it's also not one. I'm going to put it in Get on the Table. I would like to play this more. Number 39 is Kingdom Death Monster, which is a big dungeon crawly thing. It's very expensive. It's a campaign game. It's not for me. It is definitely not for me. So it's going to be, if I can find it, I've lost it. It's going to be, sorry, I'm not interested. Next up is The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9, which is a really good cooperative trick-taking game, and you're trying to progress through all these different levels. It's a lot of fun. It was on my to-buy list for a while. I was waiting for the world to unlock so I could buy it and take it to game days, but I played it on Board Game Arena, and I've played it enough now, and I don't really need to buy it anymore. So I'm going to take it on the fact that if I play with a new group of people, I'm going to be starting from level 1 and working my way through, and I will enjoy doing that. So I'm going to put it on Get on the Table. I do enjoy this game. Next up is Maracaibo, which is another Euro game that I've heard a lot of good things about. It's from Alexander Pfister. I've got other Alexander Pfister games. Why would I not play those over this? Because this doesn't look that interesting, but I want to know, I do want to play it and see what the deal is. So I'm going to put Maracaibo as in I would like to play. Number 36 is The Seventh Continent, which is a really good game. It's big, you're doing lots of exploration, it's very realistic, very tough, it takes ages to play a game. It's just lacking something. It's just a bit too difficult to play when you're playing solo, and it's not something I'm going to take to a game day because it's too heavy and takes too long. So unfortunately for Seventh Continent, this shirt's putting me off. The Seventh Continent, I'm not going to put them in the bin, even though I have sold my copy. I'm going to say thanks, but no thanks. Next up is Mansions of Madness, but most importantly it is the second edition of Mansions of Madness, which uses the app. I've only played this once and I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of those games whenever I see it second hand pop up, I think, could I? Should I? No, I can't. But I would like to play more of it, so I'm going to put Mansions of Madness second edition, get it on the table, let's get a game. 34 is Pandemic Legacy Season 2. I don't really like Pandemic enough to play it multiple times. It's a campaign game and it's a one and done game, so Pandemic Legacy Season 2, sorry, not interested. 33 is another game I own. It is Blood Rage, and I didn't like this game much at first, and the more I've played it, the more I've liked it as time has gone on. So for this, even though it is on the shelf, I'm going to put it on Get on the Table. I really like it, I don't love it, so yeah, let's get it on the table, let's play it some more. Next up is a classic farming game, Agricola, and I've never found this game interesting. I can see the appeal back in the day when there was much fewer games to play as an option. I can understand the appeal of this game, but at the moment it's not for me. I'm not going to put it in the bin, I'm just going to say thank you, but no thank you. 31 is the first divisive game on this list, which is Everdell, which people who really like it love it, and people who don't like it think there's nothing to it at all. Apparently you're just deck building and you're looking for combos of 2 cards. I don't know, I haven't played it. I do want to see the appeal. The recent Kickstarter with the all-in box, I was tempted, I had it on Remind Me. I didn't back it in the end because it was a bit too much, especially with other Kickstarters that was coming out at the time that I wanted to spend my money on. So I'm going to put I would like to play. So hopefully soon I'll get to play this game. Next is Caverna, the Cave Farmers, an evolution of Agricola. I do like it more than Agricola, but it's still on that same level. Doesn't interest me. Caverna, thanks, but no thanks. Next up is a game I'm unbeaten at. I've played 1-1. It's Food Chain Magnate, where you're building a food empire and you're doing some advertising and stuff, and to make money you're hiring all your staff. It's very big, it's very grandiose. It doesn't look very nice because it's from Splotter and they never look nice. So I'm not going to put it in the bin, but I'm going to say thanks, but no thanks. I don't really want to play this one again. At 28 is former Board Game Geek #1 Puerto Rico. Very good Euro game where they've got that action selection thing that I really like, where you can lead and follow and do all these different actions depending on what you've selected. I've already played it once. I really enjoy it. I would like to play it again. I am going to put that one on Get on the Table. I would like to play that one some more. Now 27, I don't know where to put this on the list because it is Root. I haven't played the board game, but I've played the digital game a few times. So I'm going to take it as a board game rather than including the digital game as well. This is where your animal's fighting for control of a woodland, and you've got all these different factions that all play very differently. Sounds like a nightmare to teach. It was a nightmare to even learn the tutorials on the game. So yeah, for Root, I'm definitely going to put would like to play, even though I've technically played it. Next up is Mage Knight, the very big exploration deck building game, which is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing this. The one time I've played it, I would like a different theme for it though. I wasn't really bothered about the theme, even though it's fantasy and fantasy is my thing. There's the Star Trek edition. I'm not really a Star Trek fan either, but I would like to see this with a different theme. But I'd also like to play it again. So yeah, Mage Knight, get on the table. Next up is a game. If you watch any of my videos, you know I hate this game. It's Orleans. It is just a deck building game with tokens. They call it a bag builder. Everybody went, oh, it's different. No, it's not. It's just another deck builder. When I played this, I thought it was so average. I didn't really care. And then I went online and people were raving about it and I couldn't understand it at all. So for me, Orleans, please get in the bin. Number 24 is Nemesis. Like Aliens, you're trying to survive on a ship, I believe. I don't really know much about it, but it looks pretty cool. I haven't played it, so I don't know why I wouldn't give it a try. Nemesis, would like to play. Number 23 is Viticulture Essential Edition. I really like this game. There's not many plain Euros with a standard building, farming sort of theme that I like, but this one where you're winemaking and you're trying to get all your grapes and move them around to create all these different bottles of wine and ship them out. I really enjoy this game. I played it a couple of times. I would play it more. So let's get Viticulture on the table. 22 is the Arkham Horror card game. I'm not too bothered about this at all. I've played some of the others in this sort of systems, these living card games. I've got Marvel Champions if I want to play something like that. So Arkham Horror, sorry, not interested. Next is A Feast for Odin, which is a big Euro game again, where you're collecting all these different things and you're doing like the tetromino puzzle, polyomino, whatever they're called. You're putting them to fill things up. It's Viking themed if you like that. I just didn't really think much of it. It's very big. It's not terrible though. I wouldn't put it in the bin, so I'll just say Feast of Odin for a second play. Thanks, but no thanks. Into the top 20 and Wingspan, which is a game about bird watching. You're collecting birds. Again, these Stonemaier games, except for Viticulture, they just fall flat for me, really. So Wingspan, I'll put take it or leave it. It doesn't deserve thanks, but no thanks. Because I would play it again, but I don't really want to play it again. I wouldn't ask to play it again, so I could take it or leave it. Next up is a game I've never been bothered about. It's Brass Lancashire in this case. I don't know much about it. I've never played it, so I would like to play it, but I don't really know much about it at all, apart from what I remember reading from the Kickstarter from a year or two ago. Not that bothered. Next is Concordia, where you're using like a deck building system to buy these cards to use as actions, but they're also, the cards are used for scoring at the end of the game, so you need to make sure you're diversifying and also make sure you're getting points for stuff, and you're building around a map. There's point-to-point movement. It's very good. I enjoy it. I haven't played it for a while. I've played it a few times, but I haven't played it for a while, and I'm not that bothered. But while I do like the game, it is take it or leave it. I'll play it if I have to, but I don't really want to. 17 is Seven Wonders Duel. Now, I really like Seven Wonders. Seven Wonders Duel, taking it to a two-player game and then making it less fun. I don't like it. Does it deserve to get... Yeah, I'm going to put it in the bin. Sorry, Seven Wonders Duel. Number 16 is the greatest game ever made. We can all agree on that. I'm only joking when I say that. Please don't hate me. Terra Mystica is my favourite game of all time. It's a fantasy game where you're terraforming land and you're collecting resources and you're moving around building these buildings. I just love it. It is going to go in to Get on the Shelf, and it's going to go in the top spot of Get on the Shelf. Number 15 is the Castles of Burgundy, a game I've only played once. I really want to play it again. I keep thinking about buying the 20th edition or the anniversary edition, whichever it is, the new version. But if I take it to a game day, are people going to play it? Does people play this game anymore? Was it overplayed when it first came out, when I didn't play it at all? I don't know. So while I do really like this game, I'm going to put it on Get to the Table because I do want to play it again. I just don't know if I'm going to get the chance to, sadly. 14 is Scythe, another Stonemaier game that I'm just not bothered about. If I want to do some farming, I'll do some farming. If I want to fight, I'll do fighting. But I don't like fighting and farming at the same time. It just annoys me. I don't like it. Scythe, get in the bin. Number 13 is War of the Ring, 2nd edition. Don't know anything about this. I think it's 2-player. It's Lord of the Rings, which is good. So if I get a chance to play it, I will play it. So I'll put it on Would Like to Play, but I don't think I'll ever get to. Number 12 is Spirit Island, a game I haven't played. And I got the digital version on my wish list on Steam, so I might be able to play it myself one day. But I would like to play this. It was sold to me originally when it was in the first prototype. It was a reverse Terra Mystica where people are invading your island and trying to destroy it and you're trying to fight them off. It sounds really fun. So yeah, I definitely would like to play Spirit Island. 11 is Great Western Trail, a game I really liked when it first came out, and then my love for it sort of died down a bit. So I'm not going to put it in the bin. I am going to put... It doesn't deserve to go in the bin because I did like it. So I think thanks, but no thanks. It was good for a time, but it's been overplayed a bit, and I'm not that bothered anymore. Into the top 10 now, and another former number 1 on Board Game Geek, Twilight Struggle, the 2-player Cold War game where you're fighting for control over different areas. I really like this. There's a game called Divided Republic, which is the same sort of thing, but it is a 4-player, which I enjoy a bit more, and it's also a little bit lighter as well. So I do like this. I think it deserves more than thanks, but no thanks, but I don't really want to play it. I could take it or leave it, is what I'm trying to say. I think if there was 2 of us and it was available, then I'd want to play it. But apart from that, I always want to play games more than 2-player games. Speaking of 2-player games, Star Wars Rebellion. 1 person are the rebels, 1 person is the Empire. Again, not a Star Wars fan. And 1 person is hiding and you're trying to find... the rebels are hiding and the Empire are trying to find your base, if I believe. That's right. Yeah, I think when I played it, I got to turn Luke Skywalker over to the dark side, I think. You can check out my review on my website. I liked it, even though it is the Star Wars theme. I do like the game. It was a lot of fun. I think the same as Twilight Struggle, though. If there was only 2 of us and I had a chance to play it, I would play it. So I'm going to put it in take it or leave it. But it's not a game I'm going to rush out and buy, or I'm going to say, hey, you've got Star Wars Rebellion. I forgot the name. Let's play. Number 8 is an easy one. It is Gaia Project. I said Terra Mystica is my favourite game of all time. Gaia Project is sort of my joint favourite game, but it's just that little bit below, even though I think the mechanisms are better. I do prefer the fantasy theme, but I like Gaia Project's tech track more than I'd like Terra Mystica's cult track. So they're so level pegging, but Terra Mystica's got that place in my heart. It's been my favourite game since 2012 when it came out. So yeah, it's definitely get on the shelf. It is on my shelf and it's staying there. Number 7 is Through the Ages, a new story of civilization, a cube pusher in its basic form. It's just basically a card game where you're playing through several eras of life in the world. You're starting off from ancient times and coming up to modern day, and I think a little bit into the future as well, can't remember. I only played this once, really enjoyed it. It's a very fun game. It is probably one of those games where I'll pick up the digital version. I would like to play it again, but I'm not as desperate. I wouldn't put it up to get to the table levels, but I can take it or leave it, but I would like to play it. Number 6 is a game I haven't played. It's Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. It's basically Gloomhaven, but smaller, if I'm led to believe. So Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. I don't know how many players it is. It's 1 to 4, so maybe in the future when my big stack of single player games has whittled down to 0, maybe this is a game I pick up and play through solo. Again, I think it's a campaign game, and I think it's legacy. I think you do destroy stuff or change stuff. Please let me know if that's wrong. But Jaws of the Lion I will put as would like to play, but not now. Way down the future. Number 5 is Twilight Imperium 4th edition, a game by all rights I should really dislike. It's long, it's heavy, it's sci-fi, it's got combat in, it's got all these things that I don't really like. But I really enjoyed this game. I loved it. We spent all day, we had a nice little break in between, we played with some really good friends. I really enjoyed that day. I loved it. I think, given the circumstances, if the circumstances are right, if you're playing with good people and in a good surroundings, then it's a good game. So Twilight Imperium, you can get on the table. 4th edition. Okay, I'm just cutting in to say I swear I didn't do this on purpose, but when I was doing this list, when I was filming it, after I'd uploaded it to YouTube, I realised I missed off number 4, Terraforming Mars, because, well, I don't like it. I don't understand its appeal. I think the components are subpar. I don't like being dealt out the cards because then you might not get what you need and some other people will. And I don't like drafting them because it takes too long. Really don't like the game. Terraforming Mars, I'm glad I forgot you. Get in the bin. Number 3 is Brass Birmingham, and I've already put Brass Lancashire in would like to play. I would like to know why Birmingham is rated higher than Lancashire. I don't know why that is, so I'm going to put that on would like to play as well. Why not? Number 2 is Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Now I only played up till September and then stopped going to the group that I was playing through, so I don't know how it ends, and it is just, you're just playing Pandemic over and over, and I'm not really bothered, so I don't really want to start again. I don't really want to do any more of these again, so I'm going to put this where my copy is now. Probably it's in the bin. Get in the bin. Just want to say though that the game is good, the story is good. It's just these legacy games, I just can't do them. And finally, number 1 is a game that I haven't played at all. It is Gloomhaven. I have got the digital version. I've played that. I really enjoy the system. I'm just not going to spend that much money on a game this big because I'm not going to try and get a group of people to play it, because I just can't do that for these types of games. It's not something I want to do and have a routine and stuff. I'd rather play lots of different games, and it's too too expensive for me to just buy to play it on my own. So I'm going to put sorry, not interested. So that's my list. Let me know what you think of these games in the comments below. Let me know what you would put where. What would you get on the shelf? Do let me know. Tell me where I've gone wrong as well. I always like to know where I've gone wrong. You can follow me on Twitter, Insta, Twitch, and YouTube at JestaThaRogue. The blog is at JestaThaRogue.com. I've been Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.